Hello, everybody from the School of Nursing here at the University at Buffalo. My name is Kyle Cortley. I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Enrollment. I'm here today to share some application tips regarding the personal statement section of the application. So I want to start off just going through some of the essentials of the personal statement. So all of our programs are going to require a personal statement as part of the application process. And each program is going to have a broad set of questions that we would like for you to answer. Now, these are going to differ. So the questions that you answer if you're applying to a PhD program are going to be different than the questions that you may be asked to answer as part of the DNP program. There is always going to be a link on our website to the personal statement questions that you have to answer for the program that you are applying to. So you will be able to find that. But as I will discuss in a minute, those do change. So be sure to only look at the personal statement questions during the time that you are applying. The personal statement is one essay, right? So as you're going through and writing it, even though there may be multiple questions that you're asked to answer, if you could compile it all into one essay format, and all together your response should be no longer than 1,000 words. Again, all of these instructions are also listed out on our website on that personal statement section, so you'll be able to refer back there and get all of this information. So what are we looking for in the personal statement? Personal statement is really just your chance to showcase your passions, your goals, and your knowledge. So it's an area for you to showcase your individuality and kind of help to become a standout applicant. We really just want to know something about you that doesn't come through on your transcript or your resume. And you'll see that the questions that we ask also kind of lend themselves to allowing you to be able to expand on the other pieces of the application, right? So we're not just looking for an overview of your experience. We're not just looking for an example of maybe research that you've done, right? These are going to be more kind of if you think of those like behavioral style questions that you sometimes get asked in interviews. We're not necessarily saying tell us about a time, but we are saying, give us an example of your leadership or talk about, what a certain concept might mean to you within the field of nursing. So we hope that with the prompts that we give, we are really allowing you to do exactly what we're looking for, which is again, expanding on kind of more of those quantitative factors of the application, right? We're going to see your grades. We're going to know what classes you've taken. We're going to be able to see your basic resume. But now this is a chance to expand on that and really give more of the personal side, hence the name personal statement as part of the application. So I want to dive into some tips as you are compiling your personal statement. And tip number one, this should be very obvious, but you would be surprised how many students don't seem to align with this. And that is to answer the questions, right? We want you to be creative, but we're asking specific questions for a reason. And it's because these are areas that our faculty really care about as they are reviewing your application. So what I would recommend is before you write your personal statement, really make sure that you're fully reading and understanding the questions and take notes for yourself if you need to, right? But go in there and make sure that you are going to be addressing each of the questions that are being asked of you as part of the personal statement. Once you've written your statement, reread the questions and make sure that you're answering what is being asked. It really is going to be a red flag for us if you're not answering the questions. It shows a lack of care as you're putting together the application. It may also indicate to us that perhaps University at Buffalo is not your top choice program because maybe you just gave us a generic statement that you've written for a number of other different institutions. So this is really the number one thing to focus on is make sure that you are fully answering the questions and that you are answering our questions that we are asking you and that your personal statement is aligning with those. Tip number two, make sure your document is professional, right? You're applying to a graduate program, so professionalism is key. Keep to traditional fonts, proper formatting. Adding headings are also just kind of simple ways to make sure that your personal statement is going to look professional as we are reviewing it. Ideally, if you could also align the fonts and the formatting between your personal statement and your resume and any other documents that you're uploading, that would be fantastic. It's not a requirement, but again, just a suggestion to make sure that your application feels professional and just aesthetically is easy for us to read and understand. So that's kind of that last point here, right? All documents that you upload should be in the same font, ideally, if you can align all of those pieces. Tip number 3, and I kind of mentioned this previously, each personal statement should be different, right? We understand that students are often applying to multiple programs. That's perfectly fine. We certainly hope that we're your number one choice, but we do get that there are a lot of great options out there. You really need to make sure that the personal statement that you write for one institution is not the one that you're sending to all institutions, right? Every school of nursing is going to be looking for different things. They're going to be asking different types of questions. So really make sure that you are taking the time to personalize your statement. We can tell, right? When applicants are using materials from other applications, a lot of times there's simple mistakes. It's going to weaken their application. I mean, we may also run into a scenario where, again, you're submitting a statement that is completely not aligned with the questions that we're asking. And then it's going to be that very obvious red flag for us that you didn't put in the time and the effort, right? And if you can't put in the care to your application, how can we assume that you're going to put into the care that you need into the program that you're applying to? So this, again, just should be a very simple thing. Make sure that you are personalizing each statement for each institution and each program that you are applying to. And then tip number 4, do not write your personal statement before you apply. Application requirements can change from year to year, right? Every year we are looking back at the application process. We're speaking with our faculty. We're asking them, did you feel that you got what you needed from the applications? And they're based on those responses, we may make some changes to the way that we format the personal statement for the following year. So while we certainly would encourage you to apply to your program early, you shouldn't be writing your personal statement before the application becomes available because what we're looking for may change. In addition, all of your application materials should be up to date. So if you wrote your personal statement a while ago, especially if you have a heading on there that has a date and we see that, it's again going to show that you really didn't put in as much time and care as we would like as part of this application, that you were just kind of looking to get pieces done and check them off and then move on to the next piece or perhaps the next institution, right? So really make sure that you're checking up to the date that you are applying to make sure that you are answering the correct questions. And again, our website is always going to be up to date with the personal statement questions during the application period. So what you see on there right now are going to be the questions for the fall 2026 programs. But again, those may change as we work through the semesters. This is also a question that I get all the time, which is how do I submit the personal statement? Because it is a little bit tricky. So when you are actually submitting your application, you're not going to see the personal statement on there. And that's because the application is central to University at Buffalo graduate program. So every graduate program at the University at Buffalo is using the same application. The personal statement, of course, is specific to our program and to the School of Nursing. So it is going to get submitted to us separately. So the personal statement is part of supporting documents similar to a resume that you are going to upload after you submit your application. So what's going to happen is you are going to submit the general application. Typically within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to get an email that says, thank you. And here are instructions for how to set up your UB applicant status portal. Once you set up the status portal, that's where you're then going to be able to upload the supporting documents, including the personal statement. So don't be concerned or confused if you're working through just that general application and you're not seeing it there. That is intentional because we don't want it to be going to other programs. So you will wait, you'll get the applicant status page, and then you will upload the personal statement on there. If you have any problems at all with that, you could also send it to me via email. I will put my contact information up there, but the preferred method would be to upload it via the portal because that's going to ensure that it is going directly onto your application. So that is the quick overview of personal statements. I am leaving my contact information up here if there are any other questions that you have as part of that process. And thank you so much for joining today.